into the ring, the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle Talk, we're here to shine. Flagship of the airways, leading the pack. Breaking news, reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
I forgot I muted myself, but ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night. It is 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Time for some Turnbuckle Talk, real American Fox style. Episode 433. Myself and OMD is back on the saddle with me here. OMD is just like old times. He's got the loop. Bubba Duke already coming in saying evening to you, Bubba. How's it going? A little bit of a crappy day in our lives, a little bit, but you know what? We'll talk about that a little later on, guys. Just waiting on OMD to come out of that loop to find out how he's doing. He's just rocking back and forth to that tune. You know what? We'll get right into that first story here. I'm probably going to throw OMD into another loop here. Or maybe not. OMD, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, my friend. It's good to be back. Had a nice mental reset, a nice physical reset. Nice time with my son. Great trip there last weekend. And back to work today, back to the grind, as we like to call it.
Yeah, sorry, I was fixing my collar, it was annoying me. But yeah, back to the grind, no shortage of news today, obviously. No. Starting off with a story that you had presented to me regarding one former NXT wrestler. Would you care to elaborate on this one, OMD?
I would love to. This came out yesterday, actually, and I had a hard time finding it again today. But Elayna Black, formerly known as Cora Jade in NXT, is taking some time away from wrestling. She put a statement out yesterday saying she had a full 10-minute long video that she planned on presenting, and then chose to just make a simple post because she didn't know if her love and passion for the wrestling industry could return if she kept going the way she was. So she is taking the remainder of the year to find herself, citing that mental health is a huge, huge factor in all of this. And good for you.
I've got the actual quote here. She goes, I am going to be taking a break from wrestling for the foreseeable future. It's no longer good for my mental health, and I'll never know if that love for it, the love for it I had once will return. It's the wording confused me there. Will return if I don't step away. I'm going to take the rest of the year to take care of me and go from there. And you know what? I fully respect her on this whole situation, because there are times that we do need to take a step back, and we need to reassess just ourselves, whether it's on a mental level or whether it's a physical level, and just take a step back and reassess our passions in life, as it were. And there have been times where I've stepped away from the things that I love. Like right now, I do like learning guitar, but I've taken a step back from that because it has taken a toll on me mentally. Because in the back of my head, I've got that demon telling me you're gonna fail, you're not gonna do it. So like, you know what I mean? I get where she's coming from, and I totally respect her on that one. She did go on to apologize to the fans and independent promoters who had booked her for upcoming appearances. Her announcement was met with obviously an outpouring support from the wrestling community. Black's decision to speak openly about her mental health is part of obviously a growing and positive trend in the demanding world of pro wrestling, and we're even seeing that with Pat McAfee taking his time away from the WWE. Sure, he says he's burnt out, but that's all a part of that mental aspect, because of the fact that they are constantly on the road, on TV every week, 3-4 days out of the year. These wrestlers do need that breather.
They do. And I mean, we've worked jobs where it's, you go in and it's not necessarily a toxic environment, but it gets into your head. And, when it gets to be a monotonous, repetitive job, I mean, look at me. I love doing this with everybody here as part of the Turnbuckle affiliation program. Yes, I took the 3 weeks away so that I could be with my son and go on my vacation. But it was that reset.
Look at when I was sick before you had left there. I used that time to decompress as well.
100%.
To try and get a little bit healthy while just taking a little bit of me time and my cat time. She's looking at me like, you should be acknowledging me too. Don't worry, right? Pepper, I acknowledge you. But yeah, the industry does have a relentless physical toll on the body. And this is the worst thing of it all, the public scrutiny. And that can that can hit you so hard,
Yes. Now, and I'm going to be the first to admit, like, we know that she is into other ventures outside of wrestling. And she's stated now that she is making more money in that platform than she ever did in WWE. And that's great for her. And I do wish her all the continued success, although I am not a subscriber to that platform for her. And we know that a lot of wrestlers are taking that approach while they are not under WWE contract and under the WWE scrutiny as well, or major promotions scrutiny.
But like she is taking a break from, because she has said time and time again, especially on the episode of the Chris Van Vliet podcast she has talked about how wrestling is her first love. It always will be her first love, she has said. And there's always that time though when you're in that relationship that you do need to take a step back and assess everything to make sure that your love is still there. And if it does take several months, it will take several months. For me, I did step away from wrestling when I decided to leave the ring. I stepped away from it for a little bit, and that was more or less to reassess myself, to figure out where I was going with everything. We got Chris Parrish coming in and saying, hello, how is it going, Parrish? Glad to have you here. But yeah, it does take a toll on your mentality with the amount of shows, the amount of in ring that you're doing. So I got nothing but love and respect for Elayna Black for making this decision. And should 100%. She come back, 100%, I agree. I will be behind her and support her in that way.
100%. I am with you there. I fully support this. Please, Elayna, get yourself right. And I mean that in a positive way. Reassess who you are. Reassess what you want to do. Get yourself right. Your fans will be here if and when you make the decision to come back.
Somebody who is confirmed that he's gotten something right. This is a big deal here too, but Ric Flair has now confirmed that he is now cancer-free after his battle with melanoma. WWE Hall of Famer has now confirmed that he is officially cancer-free. The Nature Boy took to Twitter and announced that he is now cancer-free, thanking Academic Alliance in Dermatology for their support, saying, "Thank you, Academic Alliance in Dermatology. I am now cancer-free." And of course, he goes on to cheer woo. This comes after Ric Flair recently had to go under surgery for skin cancer and then claimed he still had one more procedure left. Obviously, this turned out to be the final procedure, and now the Nature Boy has beaten cancer and has made fans happy in a long way. I mean, we know people personally who have beaten cancer, and this is huge for us in the wrestling industry. I mean, do we want Nate back in the ring? No, not really, but we still want to keep him around, for like stories and things like that.
Absolutely, we do. And I mean, this isn't the only recent success story, as both he and Jim Ross were diagnosed with cancer in the same time frame. Both have beaten it within a similar time frame. So thank goodness. I am so relieved for Ric Flair, for his family, for Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I will actually use her. I will break the fourth wall. So yes, this is wonderful news. Never a dull moment when you see Ric Flair appear on your screens, even if it's just to come out and cut a promo.
Yeah, it's always an entertaining moment with Flair. One of my favorite things that Flair used to do that he doesn't do anymore was his podcast. He did a podcast some years ago. I think it might have been with Conrad. I can't remember. But it was all he did was he picked out his favorite matches that involved him. They would watch it back, and he would tell stories about that match. And it was just so cool. Like one of my personal favorite podcasts that he did was when they did a watch along of the 1992 Royal Rumble, and they told you, okay, this was the timestamp of the when the match starts on the show. You can watch it along with us and hear Ric Flair stories. And I did that, and it was actually really entertaining.
Right. Yes, and I believe Conrad Thompson is his brother-in-law or
son-in-law.
Son-in-law, okay.
Yeah, because he's married to his other daughter, Megan. And yeah, I'm excited that Flair has beaten this, but here's the other thing on the flip side of that, and knowing people who I've lost people to cancer as well. That first round that you've beaten cancer doesn't always mean that you've fully beaten it.
Right.
It's a scary truth, but it can come back.
It can.
Yeah. So, Rick, love you, man. I'm glad you're okay now.
Yep. I mean, again, one of my favorite Ric Flair things to witness in the ring, and I know he was more notorious for it in WCW, but was stripping off that suit jacket, stomping on it, and dropping 4 or 5 elbows.
You heard it here first, folks. OMD likes Ric Flair stripping. I have a personal Flair moment that I actually really enjoyed, and that comes from SummerSlam 2004, where he showed up to try and help Hunter beat Eugene.
Yep.
But the power of the punch stopped him because Regal decked him as I think it was Jack Doan, who was reffing the match at the time, had ejected him.
Right.
But my favorite from that was watching Ric Flair get mad. And yeah, he did do the whole take off the suit jacket, throw it at the ref and all that. And then he gets mad. And then you see Hunter like pointing, like, look behind you. And Regal shows up behind him and power of the punch, knocked him out cold.
Right.
And Flair laid there throughout the entire finish. And it
Right.
wasn't shown on camera, but Hunter, after Hunter beat Eugene, you see Hunter go back up the entranceway, and he grabs Ric Flair and drags him off stage. It
Yep.
was funny to see. But
I was there for at WrestleMania X8 for, of course, the night they officially started counting the streak.
mhm.
When The Undertaker and Ric Flair went at it. And I recently rewatched that match and I forgot how good it actually was. Even being there live, you didn't see it. Now, granted I was, on the floor at the top of the stage.
Yeah.
So my seats were not great by any stretch. And nor did it feel like a long match, but that was back when it was quantity over quality. But still, to go back and relive and rewatch that, it was better than I remembered.
Mm-hmm. I think it's time we move on to some really cool news that still involve our memories of wrestling, because that seems to be the theme of the episode tonight. But WWE partners with Fandango, not Fandango the wrestler, the movie company. World Wrestling Entertainment and Fandango announced that WWE premium live events will air in movie theaters beginning with WWE SummerSlam on August 2nd and August 3rd. This was announced on last night's episode of Raw. PLEs will air at Regal Cinemas, and additional exhibitors are expected to join in the future. That's all that's noted here, but I think that this is already a cool thing that they're going back to the theaters and doing this.
100%.
I mean, we did it. We used to go to the theaters to watch the pay-per-views in the early days. Hell, that's actually how I met Carl.
Right. You want to know something? I've never done it. I never did the theaters. I went to, the sports bars that had it on, whether it was the Purple Lantern, if you remember that place.
I remember you and I going to Blue Liners. So
yeah, but I went to the Purple Lantern before that, and then Blue Liners.
After Purple Lantern stopped showing them.
Yes.
But no, going back to the theater thing, this is cool. I'm going to tell you guys right now, because I'm going to assume that these are going to be theaters across the U.S. For anybody who has not experienced WWE in a movie theater setting, do it. It is an awesome experience. It's almost kind of like sound-wise, it's like you're there live with the surround sound and the sound of the ring, everything like that. The first event I did go to the theater at was actually where I met Carl, and it was Judgment Day 2002. Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker for the WWE Undisputed title at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've never done the theater thing. I know that as cool as an experience as it would be, unfortunately, we don't have the capability of lugging all of our equipment there to set it all up and do a PLE patrol from the theater.
And believe me, there wouldn't be. That'd be a little bit difficult with the how loud our theaters are.
Right.
But yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, our friend Parrish coming in, breaking some news. As per Roman Reigns' X account through video, he asked Jey Uso to tag with him against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at SummerSlam.
And that's I said that that's a possibility for where they could go.
Yeah. With
this match. I said that last week when Parrish and I were doing the Raw Patrol, because we were trying to break down what Roman's return had meant. But how exciting will that be to see on the theater, to see Roman Reigns just in all his glory coming out and you're staring, like say you're sitting like almost like front row center, because any seat at those theater pay-per-views was like front row center.
Right.
And seeing Roman and seeing a guy like The Undertaker or even Roman Reigns, guys who had that aura about their entrance.
Right.
It was just so cool to see that in theaters. And I recommend, like, if you guys are out there and you're listening and you're watching, if you're in the States, because this is again where I assume this is going to get all get started, do it. Take your kids out for the night, your kids out for the night, and go and do this, because it's a memory you'll never forget.
Yeah.
Especially with me, like when we used to do the theater thing, we used to have a local radio celebrity, James Warner Smith, used to come in, and he would sit there and he would talk with us like throughout the wrestling show and watch it and like give his own speculations on what was going on in the ring. And then he would get up and do trivia with everybody, and you would get free prizes and all that kind of stuff. I won a few wrestling t-shirts because of that.
Right. And our buddy Ryan Carlella, aka Fozzy, won a replica Intercontinental Championship.
I was with him when that happened. But yeah, it's a cool experience, guys. I highly recommend you guys go out there and do that. But what I don't recommend you do is we're going down another sad tale, is don't get your leg amputated or don't get into a car accident. Buff Bagwell had just recently underwent a leg amputation after a 5-year nightmare stemming from a car crash. The WCW star revealed on his YouTube channel, and not just his YouTube channel, but on Maven's YouTube channel, they did a collaboration together, that he's going through with an above the knee amputation after a devastating 5-year battle filled with botched surgeries, staph infections, addiction, and unbearable pain to his leg stemming from that car accident. As it says here, it all started in August 2020, shortly after Bagwell had foot and knee surgery. While driving home from visiting his father, things took a terrifying turn. Bagwell blacked out behind the wheel, leading to a crash that ended with his SUV smashing through a brick wall at Cumberland Mall in Atlanta. It was a pretty horrifying accident. I remember seeing pictures of it.
Right.
Bagwell was one of my favorite WCW wrestlers, and to see him go through what he's gone through,
yeah,
it sucks. It sucks. He was one guy that I did want to see succeed in the WWE, and it's too bad that he didn't. He had the one match and then was fired.
Yep.
But I mean, like, how do you feel about this situation?
You know what? In this case, I am going to say good for him. This is something that was obviously not an easy decision, but it is probably the right one, because you don't want to be having to go back dealing with countless more surgeries, countless more infections. And he is a guy that, yes, was, like you, one of my favorite WCW superstars, both as singles and a tag team. And I'm going to cite, American Males with Scotty Riggs, Vicious and Delicious with Scott Thunder Norton, who is probably my favorite WCW superstar of all time. And that Buff Blockbuster off the top rope.
Yeah. So surprised you didn't mention Stars and Stripes, which is, sorry, I legged out for a bit. Go ahead.
So I actually forgot about them, but to see this and to see what his career became and what his life became after getting fired from WWE after one match, with the demons that he battled, and into this car accident, to more demons, to working as a male escort and a gigolo. it's one of those tales that, you know, you look for the positives in it. And this is probably the biggest one, because now he can maybe start to get his health in order.
And that's exactly how he worded it in his video too. Like, he wants to, he's going to get a prosthetic leg. His goal is to actually get back into the ring and work as a one-legged wrestler, i.e. Zach Gowen, essentially.
Yeah.
And I really hope that he finds that inner peace, and that he does get back in, if he should he want to get back into the ring. Because again, going back to Elayna Black, this may not be, it is a passion. It is something that doesn't go away from all of us former wrestlers. We've all been to like live pro wrestling shows, saw the ring at CWE, for instance, and there was always that inner bug for us to just get in there, just to run the ropes. And if I could see Buff Bagwell just get in the ring and do that, I would be cool. I'd be happy with that. And that's what he had stated is his ultimate goal, is to get back in the ring. And he's going to do it one-legged or not. And I fully support him in his decision. I really do. Decision that I'm not really so certain on. That I'm not so certain on is actually our showstopper segment. Trying to look for. Oh, there it is.
On his feet. Oh my God in heaven!
So I might have thrown OMD back inside the loop here, but oh no, we're back. No. But this is one of the most confusing storylines I've seen come down the pipeline, and it's coming from Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, as we all know, we reported on this some time ago, that they have started a promotion called Real American Freestyle, which is freestyle wrestling. They now have a television deal, or streaming deal, I should say, not a television deal. Fox Nation has decided to team up with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff as exclusive partners for Real American Freestyle. Fox Nation strikes. There's a press release here. Fox Nation has signed its second deal in the live sports arena, entering the ring as the exclusive broadcast partner for WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and Chad Bronstein's Real American Freestyle, announced Fox Nation president Lauren Peterson. Through this new partnership, Fox Nation will broadcast the highly anticipated inaugural matchup event, RAFO 1 is what they're calling it. It will take place Saturday, August 30th at the Wolstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Fox Nation has also secured the broadcast rights to the second event, which will take place this fall, with a venue to be announced at a later date. I'm intrigued to a degree, but not so intrigued to get another streaming service to watch combat sports at the same time.
Right.
I know, and I've actually I'm intrigued to just see how this event plays out and what it looks like. I know it's freestyle wrestling, which is like your Olympic style wrestling, and it got me thinking here, and I'm going to pose this question to you about something Kurt Angle had said. Kurt Angle had said about this, that if this was around about 25, 26 years ago when Angle made his debut, he more than likely would have gone there. And then it got me thinking, like, okay, if this did happen, how many of these freestyle wrestlers would we actually see go to the WWE? If Kurt Angle went and did that, would we see Brock Lesnar? Would we see Chad Gable? Would we see oh my god, his name was just in my head. He had the match with Baron Corbin, then got released.
Damon Kemp or Gable Steveson.
Yeah, Damon Kemp was his brother, but yeah,
Yes, it was.
Gable Steveson. Damon Kemp too, because he has that collegiate background. It got me thinking:
Creeds.
would we see these? Yeah, it got me thinking: would we see these wrestlers if that were the case?
Right. I mean, another one there just off the top of my head, Jake Hager.
Mm-hmm.
I am intrigued. Like, we knew that even after the Fox deal for SmackDown expired, they wanted to get back and stay involved in the wrestling industry. They just didn't want to pay more money to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting. With our television service provider, I wish we had a Fox channel that would carry it, but because I don't want to get another streaming app to go and look for it.
That's why I'm looking at, like, I got my PlayStation menu up and I'm looking in my media section and I've got YouTube there. So I'm like, maybe I'll just look for clips of this stuff, you know?
Right.
But yeah, we got Nikki coming in saying, "Hi, cuties. How's it going, Nikki? Glad to have you here." Don't know why I flashed it up. We already got the chat on the screen, anyways.
Good evening, Nikki. Thank you for coming in. Always appreciate you. It has been a while.
Yeah, this freestyle wrestling, like, I am very intrigued about this because I do, on occasion, because on CBC they show a lot of, like, Olympic sports, usually on the weekend afternoons, I would say. And sometimes I've gone in there and I've caught freestyle wrestling, and I would sit there and watch it for like an hour because I'm one of those types that I will watch the sports that aren't typically broadcast on Sportsnet or TSN or ESPN for those of you guys in the States.
Yes. You know what? I will too. In fact, like during the Summer Olympics, if I know that whether it's freestyle, Greco-Roman, the Olympic wrestling is on, I watch it. Same with the Olympic judo. And, both Carl and I did wrestle in high school. And I don't know about Carl. I know he had gym class. I actually joined the school wrestling team to give myself that base.
I just kind of realized I was invited to join the wrestling team, and there could have been a point because I think you and I are only like 4 years apart in age.
Yeah.
There could have been a point where you and I could have wrestled each other, not on the beach, but in a circle.
Right.
I was invited. I don't know why I turned it down, but that's neither here nor there,
Right. No, I did it because of my love for this industry. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do it and, okay, because this is where I wanted to go. I mean, I was grade 11, grade 12. But as you know, throughout most of elementary school, most of high school, I was a loner. So that gave me that sense of belonging. And wrestling has always been there for me. So that's why I wanted to go in. And that was how I wanted to give back to it, was to build myself to be better so that I could go and do this.
Mm-hmm. But I do have some curiosity. I am going to be paying attention to the matches.
Yes. Nikki does say, she goes, I mean, you can wrestle each other now still. Unfortunately, we could, but I think it would take way too much of a physical toll on both of us. And Mr. Best is far more physically beat up than I am. I have lost your audio, Mr. Best.
All right, am I back? Okay, I see it. Then
You
I'm
are
back.
back.
But yeah, no, I was saying like I'd be intrigued with by finding out this match card. Maybe because there will be a match card, or if it's a tournament that they're gonna do. Because usually when we watch these freestyle events, they're tournaments and there's competition for gold, silver, or bronze. So
Right.
I'm curious about how that's gonna work out, or if this is gonna be like a I want to kind of say like freestyle wrestling with a mix of what WWE, TNA, and AEW do, where they have like pay-per-view matches, but like you defend championships and things like that.
Right.
That's that I'm curious about, and I'm kind of that's just making me more intrigued when I say it like that.
Yes, we know that they have said they have their first signing, but are we going to see any major names that we are familiar with from the wrestling industry going over and going back to basics, so to speak?
Well, that's where I would sign Gable Steveson. He seems more into doing he seemed more into doing the freestyle wrestling, the Greco-Roman stuff when when he had that WWE deal, because he was still going off and doing NCAA stuff
Right.
at that time. So this is a whole other avenue for those wrestlers who, maybe they don't make it to the Olympics, but so now there's this option that they can do should they not want to go into pro wrestling.
Do we see a Jake Hager pop up there?
That's quite a possibility, but from what I understand now, he's also enjoying his time in MMA, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's still doing that, is he not?
As far as I knew, as far as I understood, because I haven't heard anything on him in quite some time, I thought he had retired from that.
But he also, I know that he's taking bookings for independent promotions around the states right now too. And I had heard rumblings that WWE has tried to talk to him, but we don't know what's going on there.
Right.
But I think it is time, guys, because we have to allow enough time for this. I think it's time for our second showstopper segment. And I'm going to bring it up right here. A very, very sad day in the music world today, as we lost the greatest metal singer of all time. I will flat out say that, Ozzy Osbourne. OMD, before the show had started, you said you had some memories of him, and I'd like for you to start off by sharing your memories of him.
This is a very, very personal story. This is coming direct from my heart, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Best, I don't know if you know the full story in all of this.
I might have heard like rumblings of it. So
I want to go back to 1999 and 2000. And, I was, a lot younger, a lot dumber, thought I knew it all. Packed up. I moved out of the Sioux, sold all my stuff. And I got very, very heavy into the party scene.
mm-hmm.
A lot of drinking, a lot of other demons. And I wound up homeless, sleeping on the street. And my roommate, who was with me, was one of my best friends. He came home for a family reunion with his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I had walked over to the house, saw that their vehicle was still there, tried calling to see if I could come home just for that same visit. And they were gone. I called my dad from a payphone on a collect call in downtown Toronto, and I broke down in tears. They got me to my grandparents' house in Hamilton, where I stayed for another day or two before I got on the Greyhound and came home. that entire bus ride home, not only did I have to sit there and come to my senses, one song played the entire 12-hour bus ride home. That song means so much more today, as it means as much today as it did then. And that was Ozzy Osbourne's Mama, I'm Coming Home.
Wow. That was you said 99 2000. That was around the time that you and I first met. I've never heard this story, guys, and OMD, man, I just got to say I love you more for that.
Thank you.
I too have a story that's very similar in vein to yours. In 2004, my family decided that we were going to move to Thessalon and that I was going to strike out on my own for the first time. I was not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all. That 2004 to 2005, I went down like a super dark path, just living on my own, trying to live on my own. And I ended up on all kinds of drugs to the point where I was doing perks. I will flat out admit it. It was perks I was doing. What took me to snap out of it was a man that we previously reported on, Hulk Hogan. That's why I've got respect for him and I've got love for him, because he doesn't know this, but he helped me out with that credo that say your prayers, take your vitamins, that credo that he lived with in the 80s. But it was Dreamer for me, that by Ozzy Osbourne, that made me just snap out of it and just realize that I need to fucking get my shit straight. I'm sorry for swearing, Carl, but I had to. And that Ozzy Osbourne has been one of those guys that has touched our lives in so many different ways. I mean, let's talk about like his memories in wrestling. Like my first memory of him is definitely WrestleMania 2, where he accompanied the British Bulldogs to defeat the dream team of Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine for the tag titles. The excitement on his face, even though he has said years later he does not remember even being there. The excitement on his face watching Davey Boy and Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid, take that win was just immeasurable. I mean, like, he was a WWE guy through and through, you know?
Right. I mean, we remember him now for even our generation and the most recent generation. The new generation of fans coming up won't even remember him being the Raw guest general manager along with his wife, Sharon.
The segment that he had with The Miz, I watched that on YouTube today, where it somehow turned into, it started off with The Miz, but then Cody Rhodes came out, and then Cody Rhodes came out, somebody else, and the Big Show. I can't remember who that other person was, but somehow DX showed up afterwards. But it somehow turned into a triple threat match with Big Show, The Miz, and I think Triple H. And I'm like, or not Big Show, The Miz, Big Show and Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And I just, again, with because Ozzy was sitting on his throne in the ring, and the one thing I took from that again was Triple H's face, because Triple H is a metal guy through and through.
Yep.
Just the excitement that you could see coming out of Triple H just by shaking Ozzy's hand,
right,
was unreal to see.
Right.
Ozzy was always that guy that, like, he was up for anything and he was always excited to do it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was a global icon, the godfather of heavy metal. And in fact, we are getting a tribute to him at the moment on our TV screens. There's a picture of him with Captain Lou Albano.
Like I said, man, he was a heavy wrestling fan.
He was. And he is a WWE Hall of Famer.
And
This is
I watched his Hall of Fame speech today too, and he was excited about that too. And he's like, I really wish that we could have been there to accept everything. He said that in his speech.
right.
And I remember actually being annoyed because of the fact that I the okay, so I do appreciate like everybody going in the Hall of Fame during the pandemic, but I really hated that Ozzy only got like a 30-second video. And I wanted him to have like a 10-minute video to talk about like his memories of wrestling, because a lot of the stuff that we've seen like on the TV, like he's also been known to go backstage and hang out with some of the wrestlers,
Right.
you know?
I haven't, of course, I've seen clips, of course, of the benefit concert. And we all know that he had battled drugs and alcohol and was battling, of course, Parkinson's. But I went and I have watched his performance, his and Black Sabbath's performance from the recent charity show. And, you know, you hate to see the man in that condition, that he couldn't be up there and be that presence on the stage. We talk about aura in the wrestling industry, but you could also see the emotion and just how it was stripped.
Mm-hmm.
Like he poured everything into that.
I actually did remember another Aussie story. I got two of them that I just actually remembered. The time he performed on SmackDown with Never Gonna Stop, or I Don't Want to Stop. I mean, I remember like the reason why he did that. And that was because he wanted to use the WWE as a platform to promote the album that I Don't Want to Stop was going to be on.
Yes.
And WWE, of course, was like, by all means, let's do it. We'll have you. We'll get your boys. We'll set up a stage. You'll perform the song on SmackDown. And it was like the first time he ever performed that song live, I believe.
Yeah.
And another one, not wrestling related, but I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie or seen the movie The Dirt. It's the story about Motley Crue, and
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Well, in the movie, there's a scene where they go and party with Ozzy Osbourne, and Ozzy Osbourne sniffs all kinds of things, all kinds of strange things, ants, pee, like gross things.
Yeah.
And when the media went to talk to Ozzy about that, they were like, Ozzy was like, you know what? I don't remember if that happened, but it more than likely did, because I was on all kinds of stuff at that time.
Yeah.
But Ozzy is one guy that like I equated him to Betty White. Now we know Betty White passed away a number of years ago, but I always thought that Betty White was never going to die.
Right.
I thought the same thing about Ozzy. So when I saw the report and I sent it to our chat, I was taken aback, and I was like, I stopped. I stopped because I was in the middle of preparing for the show tonight, along with preparing for some of my real life stuff, and I'm like, I had to stop and just grieve.
Yeah.
I couldn't function.
You know, I remember making a post at the start of the pandemic and said, we need to watch Ozzy and Keith Richards, because if they survive this, the world is going to be fine. If they don't, we're screwed.
Mm-hmm. But the one thing that actually really surprised me too, and I've been watching Ozzy videos all day, and there's a lot of like unreleased footage, I guess you could say, that is coming out. Like I watched one where he met up with Paul McCartney, and it got me thinking about like his career in the 60s, where he was starting to get off on a start, as was Paul McCartney with the Beatles. And it kind of intrigued me, like that was all part of the British invasion, whether it was pop music, rock music like the Beatles, or metal like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
It made me start to think like how much Britain itself has influenced the musical world that we know today, right? Especially with guys like Ozzy Osbourne, because a lot of metal singers and bands today a lot of them credit Ozzy Osbourne for
Yeah.
for giving them that passion.
Yeah. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath were the true pioneers of heavy metal.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to ask. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, and like I've said, he is an icon.
Mm-hmm.
He is a show unto himself and a main event. Thank you, Ozzy. You live on here, and your music will always live on.
I've got a question I want to ask you, actually. Do you remember the very first Ozzy Osbourne song you've ever heard? Because I remember mine.
The first one I ever heard where I distinctly knew it was Ozzy and really made me a fan, No More Tears.
Okay, I thank you for mentioning that song. But the first Ozzy song I remember was the song he did with Lita Ford, "Close My Eyes Forever." I remember I remember watching the video and being enthralled. Bubba Doo coming and saying "Crazy Train." I mean, I've had that song rolling in my head all day alongside Dreamer. And I actually, like, moments before you came on, I was cranking Crazy Train and shooting people on COD because, like, that song just goes hand in hand with doing that. But Close My Eyes Forever. And I remember that video very vividly, like the very first time I saw it on Much Music up here in Canada. And I just remember being enthralled by Ozzy and the presence he put himself or did for that video. But for me, the song that made me a fan of Ozzy's was No More Tears. The way that song just hits, yeah, you know?
Yep. I mean, and that was how I went back and I discovered older Ozzy. I knew of Black Sabbath, but I just, and I remember, because I'm going to go to Crazy Train as well, it was one of the first heavy metal songs and videos that I showed Shane on YouTube. And I remember him watching the guitar fly, and he's like, "Dad, it's a spaceship, it's an airplane." And he was 4 or 5 at the time.
Yeah.
And then I'd have him sing that. And I sent the video to his mom, to his aunt, to his grandparents on his mom's side.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because as much as Ozzy is credited as being the Prince of Darkness, the Lord of Darkness, if you really listen, a lot of his songs are about peace and love.
Dreamer's the perfect example of that.
Crazy Train.
Yeah. Dreamer is all about protecting Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I mean, the line, "When will mankind stop abusing her?" Right?
Right.
But yeah, I remember just because, again, we talk about that aura in wrestling. Ozzy had that aura when he got on the stage. Even like Gene Simmons, who was I saw an interview with Gene Simmons where he talked about Ozzy's passing, and he was pretty cut up about it. And the one thing he said is the one thing he will take away from Ozzy, like as far as memories go, is just how much of a family man he was. And he really was. I mean, it came across on his reality show, The Osbournes, which it was a guilty pleasure show of mine, but I loved every minute of watching that show. He had nothing but love for Jack and for Kelly and for Sharon. And I know that there's another child there, but I can't remember the name. Thank you. But I'll, like, when Kelly wanted to get into the music industry, Ozzy helped her in every way that he could to try and get her into the industry.
Yep.
And whatever Jack's passions ended up being, Ozzy was there to help him out. Ozzy himself had stated, like, when he stated this about coming off of tours, and he's like, "When I come home, I feel like I've got to be Santa Claus. I bring all these gifts to my kids, and then when I'm home from these tours, my kids are my number one thing.
Yeah. There was another clip and a viral moment that happened at the Back to the Beginning show, Ozzy's farewell and charity concert. And in front of Ozzy, in front of Sharon, in front of Jack, Sid Wilson, the drummer for Slipknot, got down on bended knee and proposed to Kelly.
That doesn't surprise me. Wait, he's the current drummer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Another thing, because the one thing we didn't really touch on is Ozzy's charitable efforts. And the one thing that struck me, it hit a real big chord with me, was when he and Kelly Osbourne wrangled up like all of the best singers you can think of to do a cover of Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven for the Haiti earthquake.
Yeah.
And I, to this day, like, it's the song's only available on YouTube to watch. I, to this day, kind of want that song to be on Spotify there, Ozzy. And I understand that there's legalities with all trying to get all of the singers to sign off on it, because they probably all have some kind of rights to it. But I really want that song to be on Spotify.
Right.
Because that was honestly, like, when Eric Clapton first recorded the song, I'm like, there's no way anybody could cover this. And then Ozzy's like, well, here, hold my beer, I'm gonna do it. And it was amazing, you know.
Right.
But it stopped my day essentially when I read about Ozzy. What was your first thoughts when you read the article?
I was taken aback. I didn't see an article. I saw literally it came up in a group chat for the festival I was just at. And it was like, yes, no. And somebody then posts like, as of July 25th, 2025, or July 22nd, 2025, Ozzy Osbourne is alive. And then all of a sudden I flipped over to social media and that's all it was.
I first saw the report through a group that I didn't really quite trust, and then I'm like, okay, I got to Google this to make sure that this is a thing. And then I saw the BBC report that I sent to our chats there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is legit. And it was like and I told my sister this because we were just talking about Ozzy just a couple of days ago. And I'm like, this is like a stop the presses kind of moment. Like I was literally sitting here getting our notes together for the show when that report came across. And I actually have another a funny joke that Bubba had showed me the video of the last performance, because at the CWE show, and I'm like, I turned to Bubba and I said, are you sure this is really going to be his last performance? Right? Because we're in a world right now where a lot of musicians are like, this is going to be my last performance. And then like 6 months down the road, they're doing another concert.
Yeah.
And it's obvious that was Ozzy's last performance. Yeah. But Ozzy, we're going to take a moment for you. We're going to do the 10 bell salute for Ozzy. We're going to ask that you mute your mic, OMD, while we do this. Thank you so much. OMD, I think it's time we give out the old socials. Starting with
Me.
you, good sir.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for me on the socials, Linktree, linktr.ee/OMD show. And to you, Mr. Best.
Before we do mine, I'm going to give out Carl's because, let's face it, without this show, we wouldn't be here. Let's if you want to follow Carl Carafel, his link tree is lanktr.ee/Carl Carafel. That's KarlKarufel. And if you want to find my socials, you can look for me at my link tree, lanktr.ee/Chris_best83. But before we say our goodbyes, I got a couple of videos that I want to show you guys. Right now, we are looking for some assistance with the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And just take a look at this ad here.
A Turnbuckle Affiliation Program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday we go TNA when we brace for Impact at 7:55 p.m. Eastern. Friday we secure all details as we answer the call for the SmackDown security detail at 8 p.m. Eastern. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Sundays be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Eastern. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day.
All right. And OMD, are you in the loop? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and end off the show with those famous words from one Carl Carafel. Ladies and gentlemen, the world's a scary place. Ladies and gentlemen, the world's a scary place. Take care of each other.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle Talk every day. Turnbuckle Talk every day.